No, this is not a Hollywood blockbuster. The planes crashing into these towers are real. And these buildings crashed to the ground, including one that wasn't hit by anything at all. The American population was terrorized, hypnotized, and traumatized by repetitive showings of the devastation, with the media repeating over and over that it was a terrorist attack.
Race don't matter, your faith don't matter, the enemy is government tyranny, all that other shit don't matter.
What's good, everyone? This video is going to be about the serpent. As you can see, that was the rod of Asclepius, which is right here, and they used the caduceus also. Now, these symbols the snake used to be used for sound waves or energy, or and then it became the serpent worship. Now, that one you just seen, I don't know what this is for, but I thought that was interesting. I downloaded it. This is either Abraham or Moses. I think it's Moses, because when I put Moses in, that came up, but I also seen the picture of Abraham like that. Here's a law with the serpent and staff. And I was reading, which you're going to see in this video, and it talks about how Poland and Germany, these people came with Christian and Catholic religion and changed the people from spiritual into religious. It's pretty interesting, and it gets me a little more angry that we've been lied to, man, once again. And I kind of knew this for a long time, but I didn't know every religion worshipped serpent. But I always had a gut feeling there was something wasn't right with Jesus. When they used to say he's a handsome guy, the devil, and everyone flocks to him, and that was my first thought was Jesus, man. And I don't know, I just had that gut feeling. And it's just sad that I was right, and I just never had the guts to talk about it, because you know how people shun you or freaking want to slaughter you just for talking against their religion. But I'm not going to talk too much more. I'm just going to let this video do the talking. It's a nice web page I found that'll describe a lot. I'm also going to do a part 2 to this, because there's more pictures, and I found another website with more information. So check this video out. Peace, everyone. What's good, everyone? This video is going to be about the serpent code, the sacred past of serpent worshippers. Now, I picked this because serpent worship was once common in Ireland until Christianity's dominance systematic wiped it out. Yet, according to Philip Gardner, the signs of the ancient wisdom lore can still be found today throughout the world. So, we'll start with this. Ireland, St. Patrick, and the pests. Ireland was once infested with snakes. So, say the Christian stories of St. Patrick, who supposedly expelled them with his baculum, Jesus, or staff of Jesus. Of course, Ireland has no indigenous snakes at all. And so he must have been speaking of a symbolically, but to what he was referencing. For years, scholars, Christians, and even alternative historians have been arguing over what exactly St. Patrick was eradicating. There's precious little evidence of St. Patrick even coming to Ireland, just as there is no evidence that St. Paul went to Malta and kicked out the snakes there too. So what's the truth? And there is any spiritual relevance for us today? Across Ireland there are hundreds of crosses, many of which can be proven to have pre-Christian origins, and many are entwined with images of serpents. The same is true for other religions, such as Malta as I've just mentioned, Rhodes, India, other locations, sorry, not religions. Rhodes, India, Greece, and many more. All these places, snakes are found on ancient megalithic monuments and Christian buildings. They are remnants of pre-existing serpents worshipping cult, the serpent cult. It is often misread as consisting of scholar worshipper. They worshipped the esoteric or inner sun. For us today, the inner light is the realization of our own connection to the greater universe, our own inner balance, and our own growth towards a more in tune attitude to the world around us. It is also the part of ourselves and our outer world which gives life, sustains, and gives growth. The sun found in the sky, and as an inner light found within via methods pertaining to the inner serpent energies as they were perceived. These inner serpentine or solar linked visions were physically represented in megalithic monuments, oral folk tales, and art. The existence of this universal cult can also be discovered in other elements of Irish and Celtic tradition. They were sacredly a design or ornament in Ireland from ancient times that do not show the serpent or dragon image. There is scarcely a myth, a folk tale, or a legend which does not include the serpent. These are not just pagan ornaments or myths. They also bled into Christian world, or more accurately, the Christians could not keep them out. It was so deep in the Irish culture. The church had spent many years trying desperately to demonize the serpent, making it the evil snake in the Garden of Eden, or even picturing Lucifer, the angel of light, as a serpent. The reason is simple. Knowledge is powerful, but knowledge of yourself is such more powerful. The church, as a intermediaries between us and knowledge of the divine, could not allow this. But the snake maintained its position steadfastly within the church, clinging on like limpet. It was in fact that the only animal in the Bible to speak using its own voice. It was used by Moses in the wilderness to heal the Israelites, and it was used by the first Christians as a symbol of Christ himself. Booyah! As a symbol for Christ himself, them serpents were used. Serpents can be found on Irish Christian crosses, such as the Killamary in Kilkenny County and the front of CashApp, amongst others. Indeed, even the crosier priest staff of CashApp had a serpent emerging from a vagina, which itself is covered in serpents, therefore symbolizing new life via the born-again serpent. The cross air itself basically resembles the staff of Moses or Aaron, or even that in Etruscan or Babylonian priest, all cultures linked to serpent worship. Unfortunately, fundamentalists and strict Protestants, because I've seen videos of them messing with snakes, removed many of these serpents found adorning such crosses in an attempt to hide the true history. Although seen on Irish crosses are strange figures which have extra large heads in relation to their body, some have said that it is due to the predominance of a Celtic head cult, but the evidence we uncovered in the Serpent Grail pointed to the fact that both the serpent cult and the head cult are one and the same, we found that this was due to the international psychological and spiritual process brought on by the serpent energies. In Irish tales, these great serpents or priests, pests, were said to be as big as a horse and have a great mane upon it. So it has legend of the lakes croaker relating to Lough Kitane of Killarney. If I said that right, I hope so. This has baffled many and has given reason to the link between the snake serpent and the fabled dragon in many cultures. The tale of the great serpents of huge size and even compared to mountains reveals much. Many of these serpent tales refer to actual locations whereby ancient man created great centers of healing, initiation, and ritual, all linked to the universal worship of the serpent. Now, when he said ancient man created great centers of healing, right? Initiation and ritual, but it was linked to the serpent. That reminds me, okay, the healing of these hospitals, the caduceus, the route of Asclepius, the initiation, the oath they take to become these doctors, and the ritual, which is giving you this poisonous medicine, and then you dying, becomes a blood ritual. Now, there's only one problem to this. I'm just reading a thing. I have never done any of this, so I can't tell you through experience, but I could tell you through reading, and I'm just being real with it. But all in all, if I could prove this, man, these people would definitely, I'm not even gonna express myself in that. But let's move on. The Fenian heroes of ancient Ireland are recorded only in song in one of them. Fionn was their dragon slayer. One of the legend tells us that it resembles a great mound, and its jaws were yawning wide. There might lie concealed, though great in fury, 100 champions in its eye pits. Taller in height than 8 men was its tail, which was erect above its back. Thicker was the most slender part of it all than the forest oak, which was sunk by the flood. Fionn asked where the great monster had come from and was told from Greece to demand battle from the Fenians. Perhaps serpent worshippers had come to Ireland from Greece. I thought it was interesting on that channel I was watching about how Greece already had biological warfare when they created volcanoes. And I think people should look into that because I always wondered where volcanoes came from. Just for the fact they only drilled 8 miles down, and that's a fact. And they can't drill any farther with any drill bit they've ever created. It's always broken, even diamond drill bits. So how do they know what's in the center of this so-called ball that we're in, right? Anyway, let's move on. I lost my spot. Fionn, it said, opened the side of the dragon and released the men, going on to kill it. It may be that there is a mixture of wartime, fact entwined with the symbolism of this legend, emerging from the side of the dragons, according to all myths, gives new life, leaving us no doubt that these serpent mountains were placed of initiation and rebirth. Evidence of ancient serpent worship in Americans can be verified from the many serpent mounds that appear across the continent. In Ohio, there is a large serpentine mound, which is a large head of the snake swallowing or throwing up a large egg. Similar snake mounds can be found across the world. Some are man-made, others natural and adapted, such as Hackpins Hill near Avebury in England, where hack means snake and pen means head, thereby giving us Snakehead Hill. These large serpents still seen in the land today were ancient burial mounds, earthworks, and places of ritual for the serpent worshipping cults of our ancestors. These great mane upon the mound being grass or trees, and people broke all them treaties and disrespected these people and their worships, man, and freaking built buildings and all that, man. That's to me, that's disrespectful to the fullest, man. And I ain't with that type of shit. If I grew up in them times, I would have went against my own people, man. That's just word up for doing foul shit like that. That's just not me. It's not what I'm about, man. But let's get back to this article. In 1871, at the meeting of the British Association in Edinburgh, a certain Mr. Feen gave an account of his discovery in Argyllshire, Scotland, of a mound several hundred feet long, 15 feet high, and 13 feet broad. The tail tapers away from a circular cairn, which he presumed to be a solar disk, and above the head of the Egyptian Uraeus. This fiery Uraeus serpent, or most properly, I can't say that word, it looks like German or maybe Russian, Wajet, anoints the head with flames, as referred to in the Bible, in Apostles, Acts 2, where the apostles are filled with the Holy Spirit, and flames lick above their heads. Here we have a clue to the serpent's connection to spirituality. Now, I know this whole scripture has to be deciphered. Flames lick above their heads? Come on. Anyway, in the pyramid text, the Wajet is linked strongly with nature. The papyrus plant is said to emerge from her, and she is connected to the force of growth, fertility, and creative power. The Uraeus is an indication of the divine wisdom and solar force emerging from the brow of the head, symbolically represented in the serpent mounds appearing on the brow of the hill. The brow is known as the temple. Within the temple is the Holy of Holies, the most sacred place in a human's body, as the consciousness. In Native American traditions, many upground caverns with landscape mounds were known to be places where initiation rites occurred. Sorry, everyone, bad noise. Where initiation rites occurred. From our research, it appears these places were real ritualistic rebirthing portals, as if from the womb of the creative serpentine mother. In Egypt history, Osiris entered the serpent and emerged reborn and invigorated, and our European and American ancestors mimicked this belief. In all cases, it was the wisdom of the serpent which gave the strength, the power of the individual to move on in life as if born again. So hold on. Let's reread that. It says, in Egypt history, Osiris entered the serpent and emerged reborn and invigorated. And our European and American ancestors mimicked this belief. Okay? It's a belief. Didn't say facts. It said a belief. So it's almost like what happened in September of 2002. People are going to say, well, I believe. But, Where was I going with that? It's the same tactics, man, that they're using. Ow. They like to mimic other people. That's what I wanted to say. European and America mimicked Egypt. So America also Egypt, a lot of other military tactics from other countries. They're not original. They mimic stuff. Serpent mounds, a worldwide phenomenon. Further reference to serpent mounds can be found across the world in the Persian holy book Zend, Avesta, or Avesta. One of the story heroes take a rest on what he thinks is a bank, only to find out it was a green snake. In Mauritania, Iphicrates says that they're dragons of such extent that grass grew up on their backs. In Strabo, 2 dragons are said to have resided in the mountains of India, one 80 cubits long and the other 140 cubits long. Wow. From Syria, Poseidonus tells a dragon which was so large that horse riders on either side could not see each other. Damn. Each scale was as big as a shield, so that a man might ride into his mouth. What? This is thought that these must be ruins of Ophite serpent-worshipping temples. In some parts of Syria, serpent worshippers were known as Hivites, linked to the root word Hiva, from which came the biblical name of Eve. Hiva, Eve. That kind of makes sense. Which could then be acquitted with female serpent. In India, serpent deities are known as Naga. From South America, text said to have been written by Voltan. I can't say that name, I'm sorry. In the language of Quiches, says he left Valium Chivum and came to the New World to apportion land among 7 families who came with him and were said to be of serpent origin, or Culebra, passing the land of 13 snakes. He arrives in Valum Voltan, founding the city of Nachan, city of snakes, thought to be Palenque, I don't know, possibly around 15 BC or even earlier. Sorry I messed some of these words up. In reference to serpent mounds, there's a description of a subterranean passage that determined at the root of heaven, referred to as a snake hole. Wow, that must be in the center where the North Pole is in the vortex. As a snake hole. While snake heaven was Patala, Votan was only allowed entry because he was a son of a snake, from which he can infer he was an initiate in the serpent cult. Serpent wisdom. There are 2 distinct elements of practical wisdom, originating in the serpent tales, fables, and folklore. First, that the physical snake itself not only sloughs off its skin and appears to be reborn, like Jesus, from within a cave, like Jesus, or under a rock, like Jesus, but that the very elements of the physical snake could actually prevent disease and cure ill health. Well, they tried that back in the days, and snake venom was killing people, giving them herpes. So they say. I gotta look that up deeper. The knowledge of amazing regeneration properties of the various parts of the snake had been discovered in hundreds of ancient medica materia alchemical test and hidden within folklore. It sounds like Western medicine. The venom of the snake was used as an elixir to help prevent disease through boosting the immune system with high levels of protein, and secondary mixing the neurotoxin venom with the blood of the snake or mammalian or mammalian, I don't know. Hosts such a horse brings on altered states of consciousness, much akin to certain drugs used by shaman across the world from ancient times. Visions of other worlds seen in such trances are often depicted as tombs, wombs, or caves, within which sometimes benevolent, sometimes terrible serpents are encountered. In any discussion of serpent wisdom, we cannot fail to also mention the ancient Hindu Kundalini practice. Kundalini means simply coiled serpent. And in the Indian system, the Inda and Pingala energy through serpent channels are raised up and down the spine to raise the consciousness of the adept. There are 6 chakra energies, vortices aligning the spine, with the 7th emerging at the top of the head, which is the crown chakra, which is called the Bindu. Each chakra location must be traversed upwardly and in balance before one can achieve the Bindu, enlightenment, reminiscent of the reference in Apostles, Acts 2, where enlightenment is reached and described as fire licking at the head in the Bindu position. I recently met up the dowser Hamish Miller, who was followed by Michael and Mary lines of telluric energy across Europe, finding many examples of Kundalini images in the dual serpentine caduceus, known to all health practitioners all over the world. We share our amazement at the widespread frequency of the serpent in myth and folklore. Mankind has from immemorial searched for longer life and divine wisdom. The result in sacred and often secret code, hidden in the landscape, locked away in ancient texts and deep within our inner energy system. It is a secret code of the divine and wise serpent that has survived the attempts of the Christian church to eradicate it. If you hear its call, there is a wellspring of knowledge out there for you to discover. And I thought this was very interesting, man. I'm going to add on another video and maybe do a part 2 because I found another interesting one. That kind of aligns with some of the stuff that was said on the video I watched. And when I research, and it's like I find what I'm looking for, yeah, it excites me, but I also look at stuff where people disagree. Because, like I said, man, I never forget Method Man said in his first album, I think he said like 95% of the shit you read is a lie, and the rest, I forgot what he said after that, but I'm going to take that clip and put it in one of my videos one day. So I got videos ready to go, but I'm just so nervous about all these, what's going on, all these constitutional illusions that we're supposed to have. But hey, man, we still are the best country in the world, even though we're being oppressed and all that, even though sometimes we oppress ourselves too. But salute to everyone, much love and respect, man. I give a shout out to everybody. When I say everybody should know who they are, man. Everybody I fucks with on YouTube, everybody I messes with on Facebook, everybody I know my whole life, salute. keep pushing forward and doing good, man. And yeah, I might make a 2-part to this because this is probably like 45 minutes, man. Peace out, everyone. Till next time. Hopefully there will be a next time. Peace.